Good morning, this is Will Faber from Art to Ride, and today we're going to update Zoolander here. Zoolander, as you remember, is our rescue horse who had been given to us because his owner had become convinced that the horse was quite dangerous. And really what we found was the horse was just basically running away from pain. His saddle was killing him, his back was killing him, he was terribly shot, his feet were in terrible shape. And that's the biggest thing that we've had to deal with for the last 3 months that we've had him, is just really getting his feet to the point where he's sound enough and comfortable on his feet to be able to be worked. You can also find a video about that when we first worked with our horseshoer there, Kenny Lyons, getting him straightened out. So you can find a little information about that in our videos. So today we're going to show you where he's at now. As you can see, he's become quite relaxed. This is a horse that they thought was quite dangerous, and really we found that he was just running away from pain. Now he comes out, he's probably the most relaxed horse in the barn and is wonderful about pretty much everything we do. So there you see his walk, and once again, he was not lunged today. We just got him and rode him. He's to the point where now you can just get on him and he immediately stretches to the ground and comes out beautifully and relaxed. So now we're going to go into a trot and take a look at his trot work a little bit. You notice that we're going to keep him in the stretch for the most part. We're getting much more length of his neck. This horse whose neck had been compressed back, he'd also been broken in the neck. So if he looks a little overbent at times, once again, that's due to the fact that he had been overflexed in the neck and broken at the third vertebrae. So we have to work very hard to straighten those things out, just letting the horse's neck stretch out without taking a lot of contact until those ligaments and muscles in there begin to heal where they've been broken back in the third vertebrae of the neck. So she's going to keep him in a long frame, letting him find where he's comfortable there, just like that. Very nice, but you can see he's become quite swinging. If you go and compare these pictures to his earlier video, you would see that he's tracking up way more underneath himself now. Look how nicely he's working over his back right there, and that's about the position he can be in. That's absolutely beautiful right there. Just go ahead and make a circle around me so we can see him. And one of the questions that came in not long ago is, when is the horse ready to canter? Well, the horse is ready to canter when it can canter over its back, that is, can canter and maintain the position of its back, that is, working through the back. Before then, if you find that you can't pretty much easily get that to happen, then you need to just work the trot. The trot is where we build muscle. The cantering generally builds wind. So if your horse doesn't have enough strength to canter correctly, you're going to do a lot more trot work to strengthen it and then come back to the canter. Rather than if you just canter endlessly, all you'll end up with is a sore back on your horse. If he doesn't have the strength to do it, he's simply not going to be able to, and no amount of continuing to canter will do anything but hollow the horse more. So you have to build, as we have done, the back of the horse, as you see here, which has become quite nice. So we've only cantered this horse a few times since we've had him, so and he certainly hasn't cantered, I don't think, here in a few weeks. So we're going to try that now, and we're going to see what it does. So whenever my wife is ready there, she's going to ask him to go into a canter, and we'll see what his canter looks like after 3 months of trot work. And you can see he resisted there just a little bit, finding his place, but there, look how nicely he came in over his back. Beautifully right there. Look how the muscles have stayed engaged across the top line. So this tells me that this horse is now ready to begin more work in the canter. Why? Because he can canter. So again, we have tried this many times before, and we just go back to the trot, build the muscle. But now he has enough strength to be able to maintain it. And look how beautifully he swings through, how quiet and stable the rider is on top of him because his back is up. So the wave is carrying the rider forward instead of sitting in a hole and being dragged forward. Absolutely beautiful. Since that's his first canter in a while, that's about enough. We're going to bring him back to a trot and let him stretch back after that, because that was such a beautiful ride there. Look how beautifully he canters over his back. And it may be a little rough in the transition there, not too bad. Then we're going to let him stretch right back out to reward him. And once again, relieve the pressure on those muscles. Remember, if you keep muscles tight, just like if you work out yourself, you have to relieve that muscle. You don't go to the gym and just keep one muscle tight the whole time. Well, you can't expect horses to do that either. You have to let them stretch back out to let the muscle flow again. So she's going to go large now and change the rein and come back, and we'll take a look at the canter in the other direction. Beautiful. Now let's go ahead and ask him for a little lengthening of stride across the diagonal so we can see if he's beginning to swing a little more there. As she comes across the diagonal there, she's just going to let the trot get a little bigger, like that, and look how nicely he swings through. For him, that's quite nice. And then come back on the circle around me, and we'll try the canter on the right lead. So once you get this idea of developing horses rather than fighting with them or trying to force them to do things, you realize how how easy and how much more fun riding can be when you understand that most resistance comes from lack of ability, lack of muscular development. So people ask horses to do things they're incapable of doing, then they encounter resistance, then they get in a big fight, and then you have a problem on your hands. Very nice. Beautiful transition to the right lead canter, even better than the other direction. Look how nicely he's staying round over his top line. Beautiful, and how relaxed and calm he is. No bolting. Very nice right there. Beautiful. So you can see. So the moral of the story here today is, folks, that when your horse is ready, it will do things quite easily if you prepare them and develop them for the job that you're going to ask them. If you're encountering a lot of resistance, chances are your horse is not ready to do what it is you're asking him to do. And let's make a transition back to trot and do one final stretch. Beautiful. Now that time he made the downward transition without any kind of having to change his balance there. She's going to let him stretch all the way down. Beautiful. And that's what we'd like to see. So if a horse has been developed correctly, it will canter just like that. When it's ready to, it will canter over its back. Once again, this is Will Faber from Art to Ride with my lovely wife Karen here and our project horse Zoolander.